So I thought this week I could finally stop talking about Joshua Fabia. But I guess not, because news has came out last night that Diego Sanchez ends his professional relationship with Joshua Fabia, which Diego himself has not made an actual statement. He said that he will next week, and right now it's just his attorney speaking for him. So I feel like he made very clear that it's professionally. So I don't know if personally they're still going to be friends or what, but the type of guy that I think Joshua is, he's not going to go down without a fight here, right? Like, he's not just going to disappear and be like, "Oh yeah, that's fine, man." And I feel like it just came down to that, like, a person was, talked to him. It was just like, "Hey, for your business manager, coach, and then all this, a standard percentage is not 50%. Like, no manager, no coach, no nothing in their right mind would take 50% of your money from you. That's somebody that's trying to scam you, and that's what Josh was fucking doing." And I feel like his lawyer or his uncle maybe or somebody like that was having a talking to with fucking Diego, and was like, "Look, you can like be friends with this dummy, but you don't have to, be in a professional relationship with this guy and have him leech 50% of your fucking money from you," right? And I'm not sure if he cut off personal ties with Joshua, but I don't think he did, because in the statement he said that he would actually remain loyal to Joshua Fabia, and said that Josh has done many great things for him, which is like, hinky. I just don't even know what to say. I mean, there's not really much, because Diego hasn't came out with a statement yet. So once he comes out with that statement next week, I'm going to have to talk about this shit again. I wish I could just stop talking about this Joshua Fabia stuff, to be completely honest. But so next week I will talk about that when Diego comes out with his statement. But doing some digging, I found some stuff out that at first I didn't find when I was researching this topic for the last 2 weeks. One is that I guess Diego is back in talks with the UFC, and he is in actually rolling in a professional athlete's brain health study. So, and this is funded in whole or in part by them. And essentially, I think it's exactly what it sounds like. And it's a medical study on head trauma in the sport. And he will be a part of that. So that's good to know that at least he's back on talking terms with them, and that Joshua didn't completely ruin that shit. Because I feel like Dana and Hunter Campbell and all of these guys that are high up there, and like, they know that it's not Diego, right? It's Joshua. So I'm sure that once Joshua was cut out, that fucking Diego could easily just go back and do stuff like this. So I hope that something good comes out of this. I mean, we shall see. So, like, that's one positive thing. But then one negative thing is that I found out that Joshua Fabia was made an OnlyFans, where he like referenced this quickly in that podcast with what's his face, I forgot, but the guy that was sucking their dick for like 90 minutes. Joshua mentioned it quickly, and he was saying, you know, that he released full footage of I forgot what. Like, I think it was him chastising the commentators or some shit. And he was like, yeah, and then you could get that on our OnlyFans. And so I didn't really think much of it. Like, I just thought they were posting content like that. But come to find out, Joshua was filming Diego without his knowledge, having him do all these stretches where he bends over and he shows his fucking ass, and then he sells them as gay porn, pretty much, and puts titles like "Look at that fat ass," and I'm not joking here. That's the actual title, and it's a video of Diego stretching, poking his fucking ass out. It's like, what the hell? Like, I knew that there was some weird gay shit going on here. I mean, like, everybody knew it, but I didn't realize it was, like, that Joshua was doing shit like that. And then there was this one video where he was having Sanchez and some other guy, and they were wrestling naked in a stream. And they were practicing heel hooks naked in a stream. And then he posts this on OnlyFans for people to pay for, and titles them as if it's like some gay porn shit. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I knew that this Joshua guy was like a weirdo, but my god. And how gullible is fucking Diego, man? Like, I love him, but how does he not realize that, you know, that all this shit's gay as hell, man? Just because Joshua convinces him that it's not. But I tell you what, dude. If you're getting naked with another man and wrestling in a stream, that's some gay shit, bud. Which there's nothing wrong with that. But I could see why they've been so defensive with it. Because they've been doing gay-ass shit this entire time. So that's why when anybody brings up that they're gay, they're just like, what? We're not gay. It's like, I can see why now. Because if you're not gay, like, you wouldn't be mad. Like, you wouldn't be mad that a person called you gay. It's just only when you're wrestling guys naked in a stream that you need to defend yourself. It's just stupid. This whole situation is stupid. Like, what the fuck is this? This is just one of the most strangest things that I've ever heard in, like, the fight world. It's so weird. So that was pretty much like the one thing that came out that I didn't realize, that I was like, wait, what? He's literally filming Diego doing vaguely gay shit, and some stuff is legitimately gay, like wrestling a guy naked in a stream, and then he sells it for $5 on OnlyFans. What? Like, I know I said that like 3 times, but that blew my mind when I found that out. I was like, oh my god. Which Diego, I don't necessarily know if he knew about that. And maybe that is what kind of spurred them splitting up, is that he found out, like, about that shit. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, as I said, Sanchez has not put out an actual statement yet, and he's not going to do that until next week. So, I mean, we shall find out then. And I hope it's not a written statement, you know, that's clearly written by his fucking lawyer or some shit. I hope he goes on, like, a podcast and he just talks for a half an hour, for an hour, and just explains this whole fucking situation. Because just last week, it seemed like Joshua had him wrapped around his fucking finger. And that nobody can fucking do could talk sense into Diego. So I would really like to know what changed. And I feel like the OnlyFans thing is definitely a part of that. Because it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what the fuck? So besides that, there's not really much more to say. That, you know, they split up, and Joshua's doing some weird ass, vaguely gay, you know, is purposely trying to sell videos as if it's gay porn. It's very weird. It's very weird. So I can't wait until next week until fucking Diego has a statement. Then I'll talk about what he has to say on the next pod. And then hopefully I could finally be done with the situation and stop talking about this idiot, dude. This shit is ridiculous. This shit is ridiculous, but it's hilarious. So, I mean, fuck it, right? Fuck it. So, yeah. And as you could hear there was like a motorcycle that was fucking driving by. So, if it's loud, I'm in the middle of the city. This is my 15th take because people keep driving by with fucking motorcycles, blasted music, all this nonsense. So I apologize if that's coming through on the mic. I'm trying my best for it not to. But anyways, fuck that shit. Let's go on to the next topic. A lot of shit happened this week. Like, a lot of shit. I mean, of course, there was the massive fights, right? Where, Chandler got stopped, and then Charles became the first fighter in UFC history to win a belt after 28 fights, which is insane. Insane. Like, this man has been in the fucking UFC for years. I think it's been over a decade. And to be completely real, I mean, I never thought that he would win a belt. And what was so glorious about that win? Charles' biggest weakness, right, is that when he got cracked, when he got dropped, he tended to kind of fold, right? He wasn't really known as somebody, you know, like a Gaethje or someone like that, where they're just gonna keep on fighting. He's been kind of known that when he gets cracked, he kind of gives up. Like, I mean, I don't want to, you know, offend him or, you know, or make him sound, you know, worse than what it actually is, but that was his main weakness. And then in this fight, he's shown that he's grown from that, right? That Chandler dropped him bad. It seemed like the fight was over, and Charles didn't quit for 1 second. And he pulled guard, and he got his fucking wits back, and then not only that, but stood up with fucking Chandler in round 2, had the fucking confidence, threw that lead hook. I'm telling you, people, I don't know if I've actually said this on the pod or like not, but I've been watching this sport for a very long time. That lead hook is the most deadliest punch. Watch. When there's crazy knockouts or guys get rocked, literally probably 65% is lead hooks, because they're so hard to fucking see, right? They're very hard to fucking see because they come winging. So if you have your hands up, right, like, your peripherals are blocked. So that lead hook can sneak in, then you don't see it, and then you get fucking cracked, right? There's so many times where, like, that lead hook is devastating, and that's what Charles landed. And Chandler got rocked, Charles swarmed him, and he finished him. Which, honestly, to be completely real, when I was watching it live, I thought the stoppage was a little early. Just a little. I mean, like, it definitely wasn't outrageous, like as if Michael got robbed, but I thought it was a little early, and the ref didn't give Chandler the same chance that he gave Charles in that first round. But I mean, that doesn't really matter because, like, the fight's done and Charles won and he looked amazing. But anyways, I will talk more, like, about this card later. I was actually not about to talk about this next, and I went on for 5 fucking minutes. But what I was going to say is, it seems as though Jon Jones versus anybody at this point is not going to fucking happen. Where I said this on like a couple weeks back, right? That Jones completely fucked himself. Jones has zero leverage. And the only leverage that Jones has is that he won't fight, right? That if he does not get paid what he wants, he won't fight. And Dana has made it very clear. He's like, bro, if you never fight again, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I have Francis. I have Francis Ngannou. I have Conor fighting. I have Izzy fighting. Right? He has so many massive stars. It's like, why the fuck would he care? And he doesn't care. So Jon has fucked himself because he gave up his belt. He already gained weight. And now he's trying to position and work out this contract where he wants something that's clearly absurd, right? Because I know for certain that the UFC will pay him. His last fight, he made something like 5 or 7 million, right? I know for certain that the UFC would have no problem paying him $10 to $12 million. I know that for certain. So that means that Jones is asking for 20 million, or maybe 17 or 15 million, and then he won't come down from that. And then fucking Dana's like, okay, look, bud, you have a contract. You've signed this deal, right? The contract states that you need to fight at this set pay. A contract you already signed. So legally, the fucking UFC doesn't have to do anything. That all they have to do is offer Jones fights. And if Jones turns them down because of pay, he's essentially voiding his own contract. So, with that being said, unless if Jones comes down, this fight's done. Because I bring this all up because at the press conference, Dana said that the next person after Derrick Lewis to get the shot will be Stipe. And he made it clear. He was just like, look, if Jon wants to fight, then he can fight. Which that pretty much means, look, if he wants to come down on his fucking offer, then he can fight. But if he doesn't, then fucking whatever. We'll just move on, right? We have Francis. We have Stipe. We have Derrick Lewis. It's like we don't need Jon Jones. Like, they would love that. They would love to put that fight on. That fight would like be huge, but they're not going to pay them all. They're not going to pay him all of this, absurd cash. When Jon Jones has fucked up a million times, he's gotten stripped 3 or 4 times, right? So it's like, I know that all of that comes into play when he's asking for that price tag, right? And if he's asking for Conor money, that's absurd, because Jon Jones, while he's always been a massive draw for UFC fans, he's not necessarily been a massive draw for the casuals. I mean, he's been a decent draw. He always pulls in decent numbers, but it's not Conor numbers, right? That I don't even think it's Francis numbers. So that's also a big thing too. And a huge thing, which I feel like a bigger thing, is that whatever they pay Jones, they need to pay Francis more. So they don't want to pay Jones 20 fucking million. Then now they have to pay Francis 25 for the for the length that he has that belt. So unless if Jones comes down, there's a chance that Jones may never fight, which I honestly don't think it will be, because I don't think Jones will. He's made it clear that he'll sit out for a long time. But I guarantee that after a few years, or like 1 year, that he's gonna calm down. It's like there's no way that he's gonna that he did all this training, he did all this bulking, and then he's just going to sit out. I don't see that. I don't see that. So I see this fight potentially happening in like a year. But if Jones doesn't come down, it could honestly never happen. So that's that on that fucking situation. There was also something else too that not with Jones, but just with Dana, is that GSP was working to sign a deal to fight Oscar De La Hoya. And Dana White blocked it because GSP has an exclusive deal with them. And Dana just makes it seem like, like, fuck Triller. They're like a bunch of little bitches. But hearing it from GSP's side, it's a little fucked up because he won in this fight. He essentially said, look, I'm never going to fight in the fucking UFC ever. I'm 40. I am not going to come back. I'm past my prime and fighting is like done. But to fight someone like Oscar in boxing would be an amazing challenge, and it would be something that would be a life goal, because he said that Oscar is one of his favorite boxers. So it's a little fucked up that George, like, this is a completely different sport. Like, I understand it's combat sports, but how could a UFC contract the exclusive part of that deal, like, how can that be carried over into another sport, into boxing, which I know why, because like they don't write that it's an exclusive deal for MMA. They write it's an exclusive deal for every combat sport. So if you want to go and grapple in like a judo fucking competition, you need to get permission from Uncle Dana, which is kind of fucked up. It's actually extremely fucked up, because George is retired. He hasn't fought for years. Why is his contract still valid? Which, I mean, it's because like a part of that deal is that when you retire, your contract does not get voided, your contract gets frozen. So essentially your contract is frozen. So there's no expiration date, and every contract that you sign has an expiration date as long as you're an active fighter. But once you retire, they put a freeze. So that expiration date is null and void, which is fucked up. That's fucked up. And now George can't have this fight that he really, really wants, that he's probably going to make millions, and he can't have it because Dana White hates Triller. Which, granted, like, I could see why. And Triller is a bunch of dummies. I mean, when you're so dumb that Jake Paul leaves you and signs with Showtime Boxing, you're clearly a bunch of clowns. I mean, that production was outrageous. The head of the fucking company's a dumbass. This piracy lawsuit, and like they're suing H3. Like, it's just stupid. Like, Triller's a stupid fucking company. But Dana White's hatred for a specific company shouldn't, prevent GSP from this fight. Like, why can't George do this fight? Like, why can't they work out a deal that they did with Conor, where the fucking UFC gets a cut of that pay? I'm sure that definitely Triller would, like, work something out. But it's just more that fucking Dana's like, yo, fuck Triller, so no, George. No, bud. See ya. And then George is like, just like, fuck. I mean, I really wanted that fight, but I guess not. I guess I can't fucking do it because I have a contract that shouldn't be legal. That if this was the sport of boxing, that contract would be illegal because there's laws in this country to prevent boxing fight league owners from signing exclusive deals and locking guys down to these bullshit contracts where they can never leave, can never do anything, because it's fucked up. It's fucked up for this exact reason. Like why can't George fight Oscar? It's fucking stupid. It is stupid, and it goes to show why we need laws for this sport to prevent this exact thing. Exclusive deals should not be legal. Excuse me for that douche on the fucking motorcycle, but this shouldn't be legal. This should not be legal. So that's pretty much that. There was also some funny news. Some dum-dum tried to break into Derrick Lewis's car. Like, bro, you could not have picked a worse person's car to break into than Derrick fucking Lewis. And this wasn't on film, but Derrick showed a picture of his bruised hand. And then he shared a video of this guy getting arrested. So you have to think that Derrick knocked this dude out for fucking trying to break in his car. And then not only that, but this guy goes to fucking jail too. So you try to... I'm sure he didn't know that this was fucking Derrick Lewis's car. Or else he would pick some other guy. I mean, but it's possible. There's a lot of stupid fucking people. So I would not be shocked. But this like guy goes, he's like, hey, I'm, a thief. So I'm going to break in this car. Oh, this like seems like a good car, right? He tries to do the fucking lock shit. And then you see Derrick Lewis, the Black Beast, just come running up to you and fucking cracks you in your fucking head. Then I'm sure that guy went completely out, and then he probably woke up to being in cuffs. Like, it's a bad day. That is a bad day. But hey, that's like why you don't try to break into people's cars, bro. That's a little bit of karma, which I don't even know if that's karma. So if somebody tries to break into your car and you punch him in the face, like, is that karma? Or like I don't fucking know. But yeah, so like that happened. Like, that fucking dummy is now in jail with a fucked up face. So yeah, that was pretty much the crazy news, and I touched on it briefly, but also Jake Paul is no longer signed with Triller. I mean, he wasn't really signed with them. He only did like a one fight deal, so, but I should say he moved on from re-signing with them, and then now he will be a Showtime boxing fighter, which Showtime is trying to like revive their dog shit brand, because who gives a fuck about Showtime? So they're just investing heavily in fights, because that's the only way that they could get like people in and to pay for their stupid fucking service. So they're buying out Logan Paul and Jake Paul to come and fight for fucking Showtime. They have a contract with Floyd. They signed a contract with also Bellator, so they're trying to revive their dog shit brand with what brought them to the party in the fucking first place, which is combat sports. Because besides that, like, I don't even know a show that's on that fucking thing. Like, do they make good shows? I mean, I'm sure that they do, but I don't give a fuck, man. There's so many shows, man. Between Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, HBO, fucking Showtime, fucking Stars, fucking and then you have like Peacock, and then all these other ones, dude, and the fucking Paramount Plus, and then all this shit. And there's so many goddamn shows. There's so much content that I watch none of it. I watch none of it because fuck all these streaming services. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. So Showtime, I'm sure that they felt the brunt of this streaming service bubble, where all of these companies think that because Netflix and Hulu, because they have a lot of subs, that they could also make their bullshit streaming service, and that they'll get the same fucking money. And it's like, no you won't, bud. No you won't, because people aren't gonna pay. Like, the only way that dog shit things like Peacock or Showtime or like stuff like that is like, they need to tie themselves in with either a bundle where it's like, hey, you buy Netflix and you get Peacock and fucking whatever for like free, or what they're currently doing now, which is just to buy out sports, because sports fans are the most loyal fans, right? And they'll pay $5 a month for like Peacock to watch SmackDown and fucking Raw and NXT, right? And then fucking dudes will pay $5 a fucking month to watch Bellator. I mean, some will. I mean, I won't. I'm not gonna pay $5 a month to watch Bellator when I pay $5 a fucking month to watch fucking UFC. It's like, come on. It's crazy. I mean, like, I've been going on about this shit for way too fucking long. But it is crazy. So I will go on to the next bit of news, which is going back to this card that was last week. There's a lot of crazy shit that happened. We'll start off with Jacare. So Jacare got his arm broken in the first round, and it was pretty fucking brutal. Like, he was in guard, and he got put in armbar. But it was kind of weird because his elbow like wasn't in, right? And then all the torque was on his fucking forearm, and it just snapped his fucking forearm. And it was really brutal. And he's gotten surgery for it, and he should make a full recovery. But after this, he got cut. So, insult to injury. You get your arm broken, then you get cut the fucking next day. And like a vet like fucking Jacare is... Yeah, you know, like why are they gonna do him dirty? Like, fucking, like, you can't wait for a month for this guy's arm to fucking heal? But hey, that's fucking UFC. That is the fucking UFC. They are cold-hearted with some shit. So, I mean, granted, he'll like be fine, because you know PFL is gonna offer this guy a fucking contract right away. That ONE FC, Bellator, that all of them are just gonna offer him deals right off the fucking bat. So, and he'll probably get paid more there than he like is now, you know. So hopefully his arm can completely heal, and hopefully he signs a huge deal and makes a shit ton of money with these last few fights of his career. Because, I mean, he's been fighting a long time. Like, I can recall when he was fighting in Dream. He was fighting in Dream. Like, like a throwback, which was pretty much Pride. Like the whole thing with Dream was, it was one of the, like, the biggest, like, business, like, I don't even know what word, but they fucked the UFC and did the old bait and fucking switch, where Pride sold themselves to the fucking UFC, right? And essentially what happened is that none of the contracts were valid. So pretty much all they paid for was their past fights and the Pride brand. And none of the fighters' contracts were valid. So they had to rework deals with a bunch of fighters. And one of the main reasons why they bought Pride is for Fedor. Is to bring over Fedor. And because all of the contracts were null and void, the guy who made Pride, I think it's Saki Kabara? I'm not sure if I said that right, but that's just off of the top of the head there. But he went and started Dream, which was literally just Pride with a different name. It's just Dream now, like, instead of Pride. But it was the same rules. It was in a ring, and it was a lot of the same fighters. So they stole a lot of those fighters that the fucking UFC was supposed to buy, because their contracts were null and fucking void. So that's some fucking gangster ass shit right there. That's some gangster ass shit. So he has been fighting since the fucking Dream days. So, I mean, which was a while ago. That shit was a while ago. That is back when they gave on HD Net. Now that's a fucking throwback for any of those hardcore fans. Oh my god. HD Net was the shit. They had so many awesome fights, you know, and then now it's like Access, and I honestly don't even have I don't have cable currently, so I honestly haven't watched it in years, and I don't even know what fights they like put on there still, or if they even do fights still. I think they do LFA. No, because LFA is on Fight Pass. Do they do Invicta maybe? I don't fucking know. I don't know, and it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm just fucking rambling here, people. But yeah, so then what also happened is Tony Ferguson lost his, I think it's his third straight fight now. And Tony Ferguson has landed 30 punches in the last 30 minutes that he's fought, which is not a good stat. That is no bueno. And I feel like it's a mix of his age and that Justin Gaethje fight, man. I mean, to get your ass whooped like that, man. I mean, that is a life-changing beating there, right? Where, I mean, like, I'm not sure, I doubt he's like public with that, but I'm sure he's had to deal with a lot of shit, right? Where getting your ass beat like that could literally change you, like, as a person, and it could change your personality. You can have anger issues. You'll get stuff, you know, like get weird. You parked your fucking car, or like your like keys are, what happened, you know, like the day before, what you ate for like fucking dinner. And that's the part of fighting that you don't see, is these guys dealing with head trauma after getting a massive beating like that. And Tony's a really tough guy, so I doubt he would ever talk like about that shit publicly, but I know that he went through that and he's probably going through it now. So I feel like it's partly that, like, Tony has taken a lot of damage, which even when he was on that win streak, I mean, Tony, almost every time that he won, he was taking a lot of shots, right? I mean, Tony's not known for his defense, right? I mean, Tony tends to go to war, and then most of the time he comes out on like top, but you can only go to war like so much, man. You can only do it so much, and then it catches up with you, which I feel like that's what happened with Tony. I mean, the last two fights yet, he hasn't looked himself like at all. And like Dariush looked really, really good. And there was a lot of people that were saying, "Oh, that fight sucked," and there was a lot of people booing. But it's like, no, it didn't. Like, just because a guy wrestle fucks, that doesn't mean that it's a bad fight. Because that's something that's very hard to fucking do. And not only that, but Dariush blew out Tony's knee, which I haven't heard any word yet. And Tony's tough as fuck, so I doubt he'll say shit. But Tony's knee blew out, man. Fucking Beneil got him in a heel hook that was nasty. It was so deep. And Dariush said that he heard his knee pop. Like, he heard it. Like, oh my god. And Tony didn't quit. He just kept on fucking fighting, man. And there's, like, almost every fighter is really tough, right? But there's another level of fucking toughness. And that's where, like, fucking Tony Ferguson is. Tony Ferguson is the top per like cent of the top, right? It's like that guy is so tough, and he's too tough for his own good, honestly, which it winds up with shit like this. Gets his knee fucking popped out, like instead of just tapping, he gets a brutal beating, like against fucking Justin Gaethje, like instead of just tossing in that towel, right? So it's like, this is a case of a man who's definitely too tough for his own good. And Tony said that he wants to fight for a while, that he has no plans of stopping anytime soon, which I really hope not, because a guy like Tony, if he keeps on fighting, man, or I mean, still, if he stops now, I feel like when he's 50, it's going to look ugly. It's going to be some fucking Spencer Fisher type stuff, you know, which is sad. And I hate to see guys push themselves too far to the brink where they take too much damage and then they become punchy, or they get like fucking dementia or like Alzheimer's, or it's like, it's a very real thing, and it's very sad, and I hope that Tony doesn't get to that point, which, if he's not at that point now, he definitely will, because it doesn't show up like right off the fucking bat, right? Like, it doesn't happen like while they're fighting. It happens years down once they stop, where there's links from people getting this shit, you know, like as in TE, sorry for my stutter, it's a pain in the ass, but yeah, and then stuff like that. There's been studies done where people will have long-lasting effects from playing high school football when they were 16 and like 18, and they didn't play through college. Like, they didn't play pro. They didn't really do any sports from, like, that point on. And yet, the head trauma will rear its fucking head when they're in their 40s, when they're in their 50s. Literally from just a couple years of high school football. So just imagine someone like Tony, who I don't know what the stat is, but I'm sure he's eaten thousands of fucking punches. And that if you count training too, I'm sure he's eaten tens of thousands of punches. And stuff like this doesn't end well, which Tony is already not stable. I mean, which I love Tony, but let's not, move past the fact that he was threatening to kill his wife and kids and to burn down the fucking house and like all this crazy shit. And he had to go to a fucking mental ward for like a few weeks. And then he came back and he's like fine now. But it's like, let's not act like that didn't happen, because that's from head trauma. That is from head trauma. And we're just moving past it. Like, oh, it's fine. He like had that one lull, and then he came back, and Tony's so strong, and Tony's so powerful. But it's like, bro, that is a sign that this man has eaten way too fucking many punches. He's taken way too much trauma, and it's impacting him, and it's impacting his fucking life. And the stories that his wife were telling, it's brain damage, right? And I was watching Tony on Tough, and Tony talks completely different, where he's not necessarily punchy, right? He doesn't slur his like words or anything like that, but he talks completely different. And looking at his tweets, looking at the way he like talks, it's just random thoughts, and which just people take it as, fucking Tony, he's just weird, he's just a fucking wild guy, right? But it's like, no, man, like that's head trauma. Like, you could tell that from Tough to now, his personality has fucking changed. Like, half of the shit that Tony says doesn't make sense. I mean, half of the stuff that fucking Tony says, like, I'm just like, wait, what? Like, what are you talking? Like, his tweets, like, if you look at his tweets, dude, it looks like the tweets of like an insane man. Like, they make no fucking sense. Like, they're just random fucking, like, it's just weird. And it's clearly because of head trauma. And it just only gets worse. Like, it doesn't get better. So I really hope that Tony doesn't keep on fighting for years and then takes more damage that he did in the fucking Gaethje fight. I mean, this isn't going to end well. This isn't going to end well. And in 15 years and 20 years, I guarantee you, we are going to start to see guys like Tony, guys like Mike Perry, just being in terrible shape. Like, it's not going to be pretty, like, at all. It's going to be very sad. I mean, Mike Perry, like, I was watching this thing on him. I wish I could shout out the guy who made it, but he made like it was like a 2-hour long thing, and he did a really good like job kind of breaking down, like the craziness that is Mike fucking Perry. But one thing that stood out with me is that his wife said that after he got, his ex-wife now, but after he got knocked out by Jeff Neal, that fucking changed him. And he wanted to commit suicide. And that he would get stuff constantly. That he would have these mood swings. And she said that he's always been, obviously a aggressive guy. But after that Jeff Neal knockout, it just went times fucking 10. where, which we saw that. I mean, he knocked out some old fucking dude at a bar, right? He nearly killed him self, not in an actual suicide way, but he kicked a fucking glass door and it sliced open his fucking leg, and he was just bleeding out on the fucking ground. And if that hit the right spot, man, that can kill you, man. That is no fucking joke. So we see this with Perry, right? And it's clear that it's brain damage. And actually, according to his ex, it was after that KO. It was after Neil KO'd Perry, which I mean is a very common thing, where head trauma will change you, and not for the better. So there needs to be policing here, where I brought this up a few weeks back when I had 10 fucking viewers, which I thank you all. If you actually made it here, my podcast has been growing a little bit, and thank you all. I got a few subs, I got a lot of positive comments, and thank you. But a couple weeks back, I brought this up where I think that fighters should get brain scans every single fight, so that way you can comparatively look at if they're taking brain damage, right? And then once it gets to a point where you can see that a guy on his first fight, his brain looks this specific way, then now it's his 15th fight and there's dark spots, so we need to prevent this fucking guy from fighting. Where I don't think they would do that, because I feel like a lot of guys would have to stop fighting. I think a guy like Tony, I think a guy like Perry, and I'm sure that there's literally hundreds that would have to stop fighting because of that. But I mean, it comes down to fighter safety, right? And we need to do something where brain scans, I mean, they have the Apex, they have the UFC Apex, they spent $150 million building this fucking thing. They can have a I think the CAT scan, right, is it's for the brain, right? So then you can set up one there, you can hire doctors. I mean, they're a publicly traded company, they're worth billions, they can't afford that. And then every time guys fight, or even if it's in between fights, but every 6 months to a year, every fighter has to get their brain scanned. And then you can comparatively look at these guys' brains degrading pretty much. I mean, I think that's what they should do, but they won't, because they know that this shit is not pretty. Which, fucking Joshua Fabia is a fucking dumbass, but there's a reason why they were getting very nervous when they were asking for their actual records and stuff like that, because head trauma is a real thing, and I feel like they know that they could get sued for it, so they are defensive as hell. And I think that they don't want to put themselves in a spot where they know that a specific person has trauma and they let them fight. So it's the type of thing that don't ask, don't tell type thing, but with brain trauma. It's kind of fucked up. I've been kind of going on this rant for a while now. I talked about pretty much all of the little snippets of news that happened this week. So I guess we'll end it on a positive note. Beneil Dariush called out Musk in his post-fight conference, right? And like said, bro, my wife ordered her fucking Tesla in December. It's May. Where is my Tesla? And then Elon Musk said, I fucking got you, bro. And then Yush got his fucking Tesla. He got his Tesla. Well, he technically didn't. He still hasn't gotten it yet. But what Musk did is that he gave him a completely free car to loan until his actual car comes in. So that is a positive note that fucking Dariush's call out worked and he got his fucking Tesla, boys. So it's like a nice little piece of news that like we can go out on here. And as I said, like for my last few podcasts, I've been getting a decent amount of views, and that's because of you guys and your likes and your comments and actually watching it. That, like, thank you, like, so much from the bottom of my fucking heart. I love you all, and even those trolls, which I know that the trolls will like fucking listen to this point too, but even the fucking trolls, because as long as you're in like gauging and commenting and watching it, then it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if you love me or if you hate me. It is supporting me both ways. So thank you all. If you have actually listened to this point, you are an utter gangster. You are an utter gangster, and you are the reason why I'm getting more views, because my watch time goes up. Then fucking YouTube's like, okay, let's fucking throw this shit out more, and then I get more like views, and I've gotten subs and like all that shit. So thank you guys so much. You guys are the shit. Says been the podcast. I just realized I didn't even do my intro. I didn't say, hey, this is Pass the Parsley. I'm your host, Tyler Felix. So I guess I'll just do that now. This was Pass the fucking Parsley, people. I am your host, Tyler Felix, and I love you all. Have an amazing week. And I didn't even talk like about the fights that are Saturday. Holy shit. But Massachusetts own, which I am from Mass, Rob Font is fighting Cody Garbrandt, and that fight is going to be amazing. So enjoy those fucking fights, boys, and I will see you next week. Deuces.